Well, this is making a mountain out of a molehill. An angry and bitter-looking Shane Jones says that New Zealand First will be stepping in to prevent the co-management plans of the Waitakere Rangers. And old Snapchat Seymour is also upset about the co-governed committee. Shane Jones is so upset that they're going to bring up a private members bill in next week's caucus. And the Auckland Council is rightfully confused at why they're so upset. All of this reeks of the Atlas network and the mining industry. So if you don't know what's going on, let me explain briefly what I know. So the Waitakere Ranges are a beautiful, lush area within West Auckland, which was heritaged in 2008 by the Waitakere Ranges Heritage Act. This act was put in place so that it can protect the Waitakere Ranges from mining and other sorts of threats. The Waitakere Ranges is extremely important to tangata whenua, extremely important to the ecosystem of New Zealand as it is a vital water catchment area. But it unfortunately is also abundant in the type of minerals that the likes of Shane Jones, David Seymour and all their mining industry buddies want to get their hands on. In the past, mining industries have been prevented from mining the Waitakere Ranges even after the Act was implemented. Now, under the Act to protect these ranges, there is a requirement of a deed of acknowledgement. Now, a deed of acknowledgement here in New Zealand is a legal document that formally recognises an agreement or commitment between parties. It's typically used in property transactions, land claims, or financial obligations to provide a clear, legally binding record of a specific understanding or fact. Make sense? The Waitakere Ranges also has major cultural significance to a particular iwi who I can't pronounce correctly, so I'm not going to. I'm just going to pop it up here because it was also part of their rohe that was sold off to the crown without their permission or approval. In order to reconcile these sort of grievances that occurred in the past and also to work alongside with the rightful landowners or the original landowners, the Auckland Council are putting together a deed of acknowledgement that works alongside of this iwi. This deed of acknowledgement, as I said, is a requirement under the Act. What should be in this deed of acknowledgement is also outlined in the Act. Part of what is required to go into the deed of acknowledgement is the acknowledgement of the tangata whenua relationship. And part of acknowledging that relationship with tangata whenua says here, without limiting Section 30, must identify any specific opportunities for contribution by the tangata whenua to whom the deed relates to the management of the land by the Crown or the Council. This is exactly what the Auckland Council is adhering to. They are setting up a committee of decision makers that make up 50% tangata whenua, 50% the local council officials. And this is exactly what David Seymour and Shane Jones are playing on by calling it co-governance, because there will be a 50-50 decision-making board where 50-50 of the interested parties are sitting at the table, 50% from one side, 50% from the other side, and in their view, in Shane Jones and David Seymour's view, that is co-governance. That is co-decision making, like co-parenting basically, but it is not co-governance. And this is what the council is trying to explain, and they don't particularly understand why David Seymour and Shane Jones are coming at them in such a way when they are literally just following the rules set out for them in the Act. I suppose it would be confusing if you didn't understand that these people are bankrolled by Atlas, by the Atlas network, and any sort of indigenous decision making in things like property or areas where they could be mined, they want to interrupt. Just like they did over in Australia when Australia tried to implement simply giving our First Nations people, the Aboriginal people, a voice within our constitution, not having them make decisions and things like that, just allowing them to have a contribution to what happens within the nation. And Atlas flat out wouldn't allow it. Why? Because mining. Resources, seabed mining, waters, this and that. What Maori have over here with their treaty and with all the settlements that have gone through, and as you can see with the acts and the protection and everything that comes into play here, they're not able to willy-nilly go into mine and things like that. And with the council then sitting there and going, okay, we are now going into this decision-making agreement as per the legislation set out in this deed of acknowledgement, so that Tangata Whenua and the Council of Auckland can work together on how to best manage a beautiful area within Auckland that needs protecting, not just for its cultural significance, but also its ecological and natural significance to New Zealand as a whole, and especially to the Auckland area. So in their process of doing that, that then upsets people like Shane Jones and David Seymour and the plans, and obviously diminishing the treaty so that they can get in and mine the resources. This may be a mountain out of a molehill, but it's going to be a hell of a mountain.